Here's Rob Williams, the national sports editor of the Daily Hive, and it's Offside Sports Vertical, fresh off of running Noah Strang out of town.
Gosh, you're not letting him off with that, are you?
Did you see the heartfelt interview we did with Noah a day after you last week, and just how
he cried? He mentioned everybody.
Wow, we almost cried.
He didn't mention Rob, but everybody else he mentioned.
That's right. All the guys on the beat. There was a big omission. No, we're kidding.
I did listen to that. No, that was great.
Yeah. No. We wish him the best. Have you filled the position yet?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. So resume still. Rob,
it's coming.
the
It's coming.
Guy on X. Rob, you have a take with regards to the Vancouver Canucks and how to best go about this summer.
Most people are of the mind trade for the
that's
the new
because
center.
Jimmy Rutherford is saying, I think we're going to have to trade for this center. We've got to do better than free agency. But
and there's nobody around to sign. But
you're swimming against the current here.
Yeah, I think it's just one of these things. I mean, you guys have asked me a couple of times. I see your poll question today, and it's all just kind of like, all right, which young player and the first round pick are they going to package together to trade for a center, right? As if it's like a foregone conclusion that they're stuck in a bind and that's their only option. Like, I don't know, guys. Like, you trade one of your good young defensemen and a first round pick for Marco Rossi. Is Rossi the guy? I don't know. Or is he just another guy? I would be really nervous for them making that move. I don't know where that puts them long term if they make that move, because you need, it's the old Botchford thing. You need an army, right? And you look at, I think it was The Athletic that put out the ranking of the Canucks prospect pool. What is it, 18th in the league? I mean, mid pack, low, on the bottom half of the league. You're going to need guys coming, and whether Hughes is here or not, you're going to need another push for those young players. Whether that means you wait 5 years for them to become difference makers in the NHL, or you develop them into really good young blue chip prospects that you can trade for even more help if you do that. I think you put yourself in a really bad spot if you mortgage the future right now. So for me, it comes back to if you need something for next year just to convince Quinn to stay, but you also need to have a bit of a long-term view, to me, overspend in free agency. Like, go find a center. I think Sam Bennett's probably a long shot unless you give him, I don't know what it's going to take, $10 million or whatever it's going to take to get him. But maybe it's not Sam Bennett. Maybe it's Claude Giroux on a 2-year deal. Maybe it's, maybe you have to give him 3 years. I don't know. Maybe you have to do something. I would assume you're going to have to do something a little bit silly. And if it's not Giroux, maybe it's Duchesne, maybe it's Granlund. Pick a guy, pick one of the centers off the UFA pile. Give him a bunch of money, and that at least tides you over for a year, 2 years, and hopefully you have more guys coming down the road, and hopefully it helps you in the short term and helps convince Hughes to stay. But to me, just the idea of mortgaging the future, given where the Canucks are in their arc right now, it just doesn't make sense.
Claude Giroux rides transit for free. Claude Giroux makes Matt Duchesne look like a spring chicken. Claude Giroux.
Claude Giroux would have been on Olympic teams if not for his feud with Sidney Crosby.
He's the Isaiah Thomas of the NHL.
I honestly,
Claude Giroux specifically, he married a girl from Canada and specifically went
to
back
Ottawa,
to the Senators to start a family there. But
Jack Roslovic, somebody, like anybody, right? Like I just like find somebody. Surely somebody's out there that has 2C potential, and you can do it that way. I just hate this idea of we're going all in just to convince Hughes to re-sign. Like, how much better? Like, if you sign Matt Duchesne, who's the better center next year? Is it Duchesne or is it Rossi?
Yeah, fair. If Duchesne will come here, no. And Rob, we were having these conversations in full, in earnest, before Rutherford said what he said about we're going to have to go out and get a top 2 center, and then, detailed it, said, I think by trade, I look at the UFAs, we got to do better than that. I mean, there is still a case for just flooding the position, bringing in a Roslovic and maybe a second one of that sort of pedigree, and then seeing if any kind of cream will rise to the top, or at the very least you have competency down the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, even if you're missing star power, and that with enough defense, goaltending, and power play gets you the playoffs next year, right?
I mean, the other mistake I think they're making right now is that they're just, Brock Besser is just gone, right? Like, I know I had to look at Frank Saravalli's, or I think it was Greg Wyshynski on ESPN that was listing out all of the free agents by tiers, and like Besser's in the second tier. Like, Besser's one of the best free agents available. You could have had an inside track to bringing him back at probably a more reasonable number that you're going to have to spend on July 1st. And they seem just quite happy to let him walk. I mean, I don't know what's the price going to be for these. I'm expecting silly money to be thrown around July 1st. I would try to solve it with bring back Besser and find a center to replace Miller in free agency and try to do it that way.
Okay, so I hear you on the future thing. The 15th overall pick would be very, very handy, particularly if Quinn Hughes leaves. So, and there's a lot of people that are really predicting McQueen might slide all the way down. That would be very intriguing for the Vancouver Canucks. Let me ask you this. We've got Garland listed with the 15th overall pick. How crazy is it, given the season he just had, which is a pretty good one, had a great World Championships? Does Garland alone get you Marco Rossi? Or Garland and something else?
Are you crazy? He's going in the final year of his contract.
Yep. But how about Garland and something else then?
Yeah.
So that you save the 15th pick.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I can stomach that more for sure. I don't know if that's going to get it done. No. I guess it depends on how much the Wild value Marco Rossi. But, you look at his age, you look at his pedigree, you look what he's done already in the NHL. Mm-hmm. The value of centerman, I would imagine that it's gonna take a lot to get a player like that in the door. So, yeah, I don't. And are you better at that point? Like, or should you just roll with Hedl and Garland? I think you're marginally better, right?
What I would say is that you've solved the C problem, and I'm way more open to signing aged wingers than I am to signing aged centers.
Yeah, I think if you lose Garland now, like how many top 6 wingers do they have? Like Garland, given the way
Virtually
Garland played
none.
last year, I think Garland's a second line winger. I think DeBrusk is, could be your third best player on a first line, or you could be your, best winger on a second line. So I guess that makes him a second line winger. I think you just need. I think there's just so many pieces away that you need to accumulate assets here, and it's just. If Quinn Hughes were already signed long term, we're not even having this discussion, right? Like, we're taking a more patient approach, and we're not thinking, okay, what do they got to do to fix it right now? So that's where I'm at here. I just philosophically, just a non-playoff team making these desperate win now moves. I don't love it. I don't love them mortgaging the future in order to get it done. I think more, mortgage the, mortgage the house, mortgage the cap space rather than mortgaging the future is my take on this.
Can I ask a follow-up then, Rob? You say mortgage the future. What future?
Oh boy.
I don't mean to get existential here, the psychology final exam question, why? But we don't know that Quinn Hughes is going to be here beyond next season. So what future are we even talking about here? If there is anything that would prompt this ownership group to actually do a proper rebuild. I would think that Quinn Hughes asking out might be the catalyst, but it may not. But the catalyst may be, the patriarch of the family passing away, and the eventuality of a sale. Put it this way: if this ownership group is planning to sell the team at any point, I would suspect they will trade all of their futures to make a final run for a cup. So we talk about mortgaging the future, and I think we've got 1 year guaranteed of Quinn Hughes. I ask you, what future?
I'm going to need a bogey juice and take a walk here, guys.
Yeah, yeah, you might.
This is a scary thought. No, I mean, I don't see a world where they can make enough moves to lift the cup next season, or even, I mean, they could be a Cinderella team, and maybe squeak it to a Final Four. Maybe the Oilers are just tired from playing so many playoff games. No, I just think I see wanting to have the good vibes next season in order to help convince Hughes to stay. But I just don't I think when Hughes is evaluating where he wants to spend his future, I think he's going to look at everything. I think he's going to look and go, geez, this team has no future. There's no prospects in the pipeline. What did Tocchet used to say? He was a hockey nerd. I think he's well aware of these things. I don't think he's going to just be distracted by some good vibes in one season. I think that's important, but I think you're going to need more than vibes to bring back Quinn Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
Super depressing. Super depressing talk.
No, but I'm just saying,
a sunny day, no less.
Are we just thinking about this wrong as fans and media, where we're even considering the future of the Vancouver Canucks? Should we just narrow our focus, put the blinders on, and look at it as this coming season and this coming season only? Because that seems to be the vision or lack thereof.
This goes back to the conversation I opened up with you yesterday, Rob, and I'll pose it to you.
You were talking to Rob yesterday.
No, we were talking about this ourselves, but I'm asking Rob. Jim Rutherford brought up the Quinn Hughes wants to play with his brothers thing, which put gasoline on what was merely embers of this storyline. We all kind of thought it, but he brought reality to it. Was too much made of it? Was it just a passing comment that is not indicative of the urgency of the file? Is that a possibility?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, I think that, if someone had brought this up previous to that, I think we'd go, oh, yeah, maybe he wants to play with his brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Down the line. I don't know. Is it but maybe he likes being the captain of a Canadian team. Maybe he just has the pride.
Right. Finish what you started, all that sort of stuff too. Yeah.
Exactly. Brady Tkachuk. Look, Matthew Tkachuk left for Florida. Brady Tkachuk re-signed long-term in Ottawa, of all places.
Yeah.
Now, the chances of play.
I'm not sure that file. I think that's still a fluid file.
I thought the Ottawa guy was taking offense, but okay.
No. I was no, not in the least. Believe me, I'm
happy to be the part.
I've been there. I've been in there. I just mean that's a fluid file. I think.
Now, the chance to play with two of your brothers, I think, does change this a little bit, perhaps. So we'll see what happens. But you love Jim Rutherford for being, as someone in the media for speaking openly and honestly, but I just go Daily Hive hadn't written a single story about Quinn Hughes leaving to play with his brothers, right? You know what I mean? It was not a talking point. It was not a talking point in any of the group chats that I'm in with any fans that I speak to, and now it's the dominant storyline concerning the Canucks.
I don't want to speak out of both sides of my mouth. I could not believe he brought it up, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe he was just being flippant. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it anymore. But everybody's now viewing every single thing that the Canucks do through that prism. Yeah. Maybe it's incorrect. I don't know.
Rob, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Let's move on. I'm getting galaxy brained here. Boy, as James Myrtle noted last night, Oilers sure seem to be handling the pressure of playing in a crazy hockey market, huh? Rob, hear me out here. It's almost as though those who blame market and media for the failures of the franchise are just making excuses. Could that be real?
I think part of this is real. Like, I think that playing in a Canadian market, it adds pressure, undoubtedly. Now, I think that what the Leafs were dealing with was more than that. I don't think it was like the pressure was the reason for, like, the pressure of the market was the reason why there was so much pressure on that team. I think there was a ton of pressure on that team, but I think there was a ton of pressure on that team because they have failed time and time again, particularly in game sevens. Like, I mean, I don't, has any team ever gone through a stretch like the Toronto Maple Leafs where you've lost so many game sevens, so many decisive games, and not even won a single one of them? I haven't seen another example of a team that's done this in quick succession. So to me, the pressure on that group was, sure, it was the market, but it was also just like, oh my God, it's happening again. That kind of a pressure on the Leafs. So to me, that's a separate thing. Whereas the Oilers have had some success. They can point to successes and go, okay, like there's pressure in the market, but they have some confidence going into those big games. The Leafs, maybe like, I mean, I'm thinking about the Canucks in 2011 when they were playing Chicago. When that series turned, the weight of the world was on that team, not just because Vancouver is a hockey market, but because of the failures of the past against Chicago. To lose a third straight year against Chicago, like that, the pressure mounts, I think, year after year after year when you have players that have gone through all the failures and all the losing. And I think that's my take on what happened in Toronto. To just blame the market. And then, by the way, how sad was it that where you've got like Marchand and Tkachuk and Paul Maurice just kind of like making excuses and feeling sorry for them after that. Like that it had to have made it a little bit more humiliating for the Leafs.
But they've never had more respect in the handshake line. This was their best year ever of respect in the handshake line. Remember they used to chart that? Oh no, but they lost. But look at all the respect they're getting from seasoned NHL veterans.
They're close. They're close.
Lastly, Rob, you and I have been tracking this for years, my friend. We got a watch party Sunday. Yes. Bravo, Whitecaps FC.
You know what they're doing? So 2,500 capacity is what I've been told for this watch party. It's happening for, of course, the CONCACAF Champions Cup final on Sunday. So it's going to be on Terry Fox Plaza outside BC Place. It sounds like they're doing exactly what I was campaigning for the Canucks to do last year. Hold an event outside of your stadium, have it ticketed. It's $5. It's a nominal fee, but it's ticketed. So you're not going to have 10,000 people coming down to try to get in. You have to have a ticket.
Proceeds to charity, right? All proceeds are the Whitecaps FC Foundation.
Exactly. There's going to be security. There's going to be bag checks. You can't just bring in a giant backpack with whatever, It's going to be hard to bring Molotov cocktails and and bottles of vodka into this event.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So I think that I did see some comments, to my story, like of people going like, oh my God, like in terms of like, oh, is this safe? As if holding a watch party outdoors immediately makes it unsafe.
Correct.
I've said for since last year and before last year, like the problems that the Canucks had in 2011, there were numerous. But the biggest thing is like, if you're worried about that, to me, don't hold a lame watch party in a park on the west side like the city of Vancouver did. Just hold a smaller scale event and have it very controlled, have security, have barricades, do all that.
Bravo to you, sir, to keep this conversation going all these years later. You were spot on then, Rob. You're spot on now. They got food and bev that they're serving there, ticketed, proceeds to charity, limited capacity. You've been talking about this for years, and the Whitecaps are making good.
If we can have 100,000 people on English Bay and kits
exactly,
for fireworks,
for
we can do 2,500 people
you
at Terry
think?
Fox.
I would sure hope the city's responsible enough. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to the Caps this week and to you next week, Rob. Thank you.
Thank you.